Traditional Japanese tea ceremony, or chado, is so beautiful and relaxing that I've always wanted to recreate the same experience at home. So with the help and guidance of my friends at Sugimoto, a family-owned Japanese tea maker producing tea in Shizuoka since 1946, I'm excited to be able to show you guys a simplified version on how to make matcha at home using traditional Japanese teaware and ceremonial grade tea. Now before we get started, let me explain some of the traditional teaware and equipment that we'll be using. Over here we have our chawan, which is a matcha bowl. A chawan should be deep and wide enough to have ample room for our matcha whisk to move back and forth. This particular one is hand-shaped and lacquered, and it has a nice heft to it when holding it in my hands. Next we have our matcha whisk, which is called a chasen. It's made from bamboo and has tine tips that are used to dissolve the matcha and produce a nice froth. Now if you've just bought a new chasen, you'll want to soak it in hot water first, and that's to clean and loosen up the tine tips. Just make sure to avoid using soap or any detergents. Now for our matcha, we are going to be using a ceremonial grade matcha. I'm using Sugimoto's SA Organic Ceremonial Matcha. Ceremonial grade powders are made from the most tender and young tea leaves, resulting in a smooth and slightly sweet taste profile. And because of the quality and care put into making ceremonial grade powders, they're typically 4 to 10 times the cost of matcha used for cooking and drinks. The matcha labeled for cooking and drinks is slightly bitter and has a stronger taste profile, which makes it perfect for cookies or making lattes. Next, we'll need a matcha scoop, which is called a chashaku. And this is typically made from bamboo, and each scoop is made to measure roughly 1/4 gram of matcha powder. To clean your chashaku, just wipe with a clean, dry cloth and avoid any contact with water, because you don't want any moisture to transfer over to the matcha powder. And finally, optional but highly recommended, you can also serve your matcha with a traditional Japanese sweet called wagashi. Wagashi not only adds sweetness to the palate to fully appreciate the flavor of matcha, just like cheese goes well with wine, but wagashi is also made to reflect the seasons, for example, a maple leaf for fall or plum flower designs in the spring. In essence, it's not just a dessert, it's art. Now that we have everything ready, let's get started. Start by placing your matcha bowl in front of you. Take 2 scoops of matcha, which is roughly half a teaspoon, and carefully sift the powder into the bowl. I'm using a small sifter to help remove some of the clumps that form. Using hot water, 185 degrees, carefully pour in 2 to 3 ounces of water. Opt for pouring near the sides versus in the center to prevent splashing of the matcha. Then, lightly and slowly whisk near the top, gradually building up to a steady and firm back and forth motion to the bottom and edges of the bowl. Do this until all the matcha has dissolved and you've developed a nice foam. When you're just about done, slow down and lighten the movement to ensure there are no large bubbles forming at the top. Then lift and remove the whisk from the center. Serve your tea with the optional Japanese sweet, then finish with your freshly made matcha. Now, traditionally, it's recommended to enjoy your matcha in 2 to 3.5 sips, with the last half sip being a slurp, indicating your fondness of the drink. And I personally skip that step. When you're done enjoying your matcha and your moment of relaxation, cleaning should be just as enjoyable. Pour additional hot water into your empty matcha bowl and clean both the bowl and the chasen by whisking the hot water. Then discard the water and wipe your chawan dry. Let your whisk dry naturally on a matcha whisk stand. Wipe your matcha scoop with a clean, dry cloth. Then you're done. Now, if the traditional whisk is too much for you, you can always use a handheld frother, which is fairly inexpensive and will also whisk the matcha quickly for you. But I always feel like there's something special about taking the time to do this by hand the old-fashioned way. Now, if you guys are interested in learning more about Sugimoto and their products, I'll leave links in the video description below. I'm Angel. I hope you guys enjoyed this matcha tutorial. Give me a thumbs up if you did, letting me know that you guys love matcha too and you want to see more matcha recipes. Until then, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Angel Wong's Kitchen, for more Asian recipes made simple and fun. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.